Alright, let's see if it worked on the Facebook. It worked earlier. This week in car audio. That sucked. We'll be talking about bass, talking about chips, talking about rings. Oh, it shows us live. You got a problem you haven't found, check your grounds. The show about to start. Tune in. This week in car audio. Yeah. Tune in. This week in car audio. Welcome to This Week in Cardio with your host, the Judge, Doug Stockton, co-hosted. Oh, hey, I can see Justin says first comment in.
Whoa.
Cool, but I don't know if it's gonna be able to let me share the post on here. I got a bunch of things fixed, and let's see if I got everything fixed. I'm sharing right now. Jeffrey, how was your week, sir?
It was good. I was feeling under the weather like the past week, so I ended up giving it to Dana. So I feel bad now that she has it, but I was like loaded down on medication and stuff like that. And poor Dana, she's allergic to a lot of the cough medication, so she can't take it. She's got to pick it out, but. Yeah, I was like, man, it's like some kind of cold or flu in the middle of summer, or just about to be summer, and
summer
like
cold, huh?
hurting. Yeah, coughing, and oh yeah, but I'm doing okay. Had a good Father's Day yesterday. Added bonus, the grandbaby came, and we found out that she likes steak and lobster. I gave her a little bit of mine, and well, at first she made like this weird face, but she ended up, we gave her a little bit, and she was like playing with it, but I guess she likes it.
oh, there we go. Moises Alejandre timing in. Let's see here if I can't delete this thing here. There we go. It says sup. Let's see. Justin says I was in LA Tuesday and Wednesday. Was nice and cool. Wasn't hot at all. Said minus all the protest. Those were pretty far from you, right?
From who?
From you, yeah.
Oh yeah. But there were some kind of protest locally, but not as like they have in LA.
Oh, okay. SQ Sounds popping in. Pop out chat. There you go. See if this works. There we go. Yes. Testing from Jeffrey worked on that side. On the YouTube side. Boom and Jeff. Let me see if I can't get the Facebook side now to work. I got a lot of stuff working. So, yeah, Facebook was doing whatever Facebook was doing the last couple weeks. But we now have it. Let me see if I can't get that to work. Refresh. Now we're at least posting. Joel popping in. Joel had a show this weekend, a multi-org again. He's got another one coming up this weekend. But, so here's all I'm going to say. I like to think we're one big open community, whatever. But the guy who's doing the show this weekend, let's see here. Bam. Let's see. Hit test in there again, Jeffrey, or somebody test on Facebook real quick.
Oh, on Facebook.
Yeah, let's see if this works. Oops. Let me see here. Facebook. Nope, it's not working on here. Anyway, so the YouTube side is where it's working. just not in the Facebook side. So, all right. Anyway, so Joel had a show. I have invited the guy Ray Aragon, who's hosting a show that's coming up this weekend. I don't know. I've invited him 7, 8 times, and he won't even respond to my request. But
Bummer.
he didn't have a problem calling me at different times. So I know he looks at my stuff and whatever. But yeah, he just ignores me, which is fine. Prefer he didn't. It'd be nice to share, because I think the name of his show this weekend is it's like a Basehead Memorial Show or something. So it's, if it's for a good cause, why not come and talk about it and share it with everybody, right? I mean, that's at least how I feel about it. So, anyway, my house is tanking. Somebody come buy my house.
Wow.
We're selling it cheap. We've already took $75,000 off of our starting price.
Why is it not selling? Is it just the market right now? Or?
A lot of it has to do with the interest rates. Like a lot of people really like the house. Tell us about how great it is and how they love that we've been just keeping it in. I mean, our house is like new condition. You've been here. Yeah, everybody loves it. Nobody wants to buy it. So it is what it is, right? Spencer's popping in. Anyway, my wife's freaking out because we have exactly 14 days. Multi-org this coming Saturday. Yes, that event at the in Fresno is a multi-org event. So, $200 if I get the boat. The boat's already sold, Justin. Anyway, yeah, we got 14 days. My wife has to make the decision whether she's going to work one more year here in California or she's retiring.
Ooh.
And so she can't retire if we don't sell our house. So she's on the freaking out trip,
Mm-hmm.
So it is what it is. I can't afford 2 houses if she's not working, right? So, yeah, it is what it is.
I mean, you got it you have realtors and all that doing all the legwork and
yeah,
all that, right?
Supposedly. That's the story we hear.
I wonder if there's this new way of doing it now,
Yeah.
it's like social media or
Well, I
or something
mean,
like
I'm
that.
doing social media. My wife's doing they're supposedly doing some social media.
Yeah.
I honestly, I don't know what to do. It's
Hmm.
I'm not super happy with our realtors. So it is what it is. I am moving to Dallas, Justin, as soon as I can sell my house. So the paperwork's in for the transfer and all that. I just have to sell this house before I can make that move. So it is. I can't maintain 3 properties. That'd be a little bit of a stretch. Dallas, California, and Wichita. So yeah, that'd be a severe stretch. You know what I mean? Jeffrey, do you have any upcoming events? Joel wants to know.
On the books, official negative
Okay.
as of now.
Joel texted and asked if I would be available for a 3X event in Dixon, which is near Sacramento.
No way. He asked me that same question.
Oh, okay. On the 19th?
No, I think it was for something in September for later on in the season.
Okay. How much notice do you have to give a start transfer to Dallas? I don't know. I put in the transfer in March. Let's just put it that way. And I haven't transferred yet. There's Eric Hansen popping in. What's good, Eric? So I had a guest lined up today. They some stuff came up. They couldn't make it in here today. But I do have a guest for the next 2 weeks. Next week is going to be Raymond Smith. He's a manufacturer of car audio. He's also a stereo shop owner. So he'll be on here next week. The week after is men's. So this is Men's Mental Health Month, and Jeffrey and I had a talk about it. Oh, there's Tiffany. She's popping in. Says, "How's it going, guys?" Anyway, so on the 30th, the last day of the month, which could be stressful in my household, we are going to have a mental health expert on. So if you guys would like to have any discussion on that, or I just think it's important. Our podcast is we like to talk. The car audio brings us together, but we're more than just car audio. So like to be well rounded and whatnot. So we'll do a little mental health episode. Doesn't necessarily pertain to men. It'll probably be men focused, just because the majority of our patrons are men. Eric says my wife is a LMFT. I don't know what that is.
What is that? What is that, Eric?
I'm not sure.
Well, I think it's in that industry, like mental health.
What? So say that again.
I believe she's in the mental health industry.
Oh, he says he was chatting you up to set up the West Coast finale late in September, maybe on points cutoff weekend. That's what Joel was saying. Oh, so he wants to keep the tradition alive of 3X or whatever on that weekend? Yeah. Anyway, so since my guest had failed, I thought Jeffrey and I would share our box building escapades, or our what we've learned over the years about building boxes and making cars loud. I'll start. So my first competition, I had a single 10 in the trunk of a Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme 1998. I went for a competition. Then I went to a Subaru wagon with 212s, where I was the third guy in the world to hit a 150 in that class. A licensed marriage and family therapist. That's what it is.
Oh.
That's actually the gentleman I have coming. That's exactly what he is. Licensed marriage and family therapist. So I think it'd be good for us to have him on and have some talk, and you guys can ask your questions. Let's see. So I went the Subaru with the 212s. Then I went with the purple Dodge minivan. I don't know if you ever seen that or remember me competing in that. I had 212s in that. That's when I started Sonic FX. And then from there, I at that same time is when I built the Extreme CRX with a single 15. And I got that up to a 68 when Nathan Munson and I were chasing with a single subwoofer, first one to 170 dB. Nathan beat me with a 10-inch sub. And I got to a 168, so that was pretty good.
Was it in his little Honda?
Oh
That he
yes,
had?
in the
Okay.
CVCC or whatever it was,
Right.
the
Oh, okay.
C800 or whatever that little car was.
It's
Yeah,
tiny.
it was. Well, I was doing it with a CRX, so that's pretty tiny too.
Hmm.
And then from there, I built me the wall of I think it was 612s in a 58 Pontiac, and it was a wall, and it was fourth order before fourth order was a thing, and I got that up to a 58.6 with a with two 1500 watt amps. So, and then but when I started way back when, I helped build a Super Street 1 to 2 car for Jay's Alarms. We had two 18s and an Isuzu Trooper, and we had it was a, not Rockford, what's the other one? kicker. We had kicker Z1000s. We had two kicker Z1000s, and we were able to get that up to a 156. Back when I think the record was like 158. So, and then Jeffrey came along and with his rabbit and started doing some stuff. But anyway, that's
Wow,
what I
that's
built.
pretty extensive.
And that doesn't even count the testing or
Yeah, test
the
boxes.
test boxes that I put in those vehicles. Doesn't count the people I helped out when I was running Sonic FX. Building subs for like one time this guy came in. One of my first guys, Josh Vanling, and literally pulled up to Jay's Alarms, bought 215s. I built him a box, took him to we had a show that day at Fresno Fairgrounds, and with the 215s, I put in a particle board box. We literally blew the box apart by the end of the show, but he was doing 150.3 with 215s in a stock cabin vehicle. So yeah, Christian says he's a throwback. Josh is a throwback, yeah, absolutely. Um, uh, so anyway, and so what did you build?
Oh man, I think I pretty much started how everybody else that gets the bug,
Uh
building stuff in their backyard. Um, I
huh.
I had a little Toyota Corolla. Actually, that was the first year I competed in DB drag was with my Toyota Corolla.
Uh huh.
Um, but yeah, I had a false floor, believe it or not,
Okay.
in the trunk that somebody shop had built.
Mm-hmm.
And fortunately, he was being cool, and he kind of just let me hang out and watch as he was building it and stuff like
Is
that.
that
So,
Chad?
no, it was another
Okay.
shop. Forgot the name right now, but they're not around anymore.
Okay.
But well, the builder actually ended up competing for a little bit,
Oh.
but stopped. But so I got a chance to see how he built the false floor. Um, was saw that it was pretty easy. When I wanted to do something myself, I just ended up ripping the whole thing and I
Mm-hmm.
just kind of built it my own.
Okay.
But it seemed like it just kind of build the frame, screw it straight into the trunk, use the wheel well, um, mess with like fiberglass resin and stuff like that, get it super hard. I think I just applied it with like a roller and some paintbrushes.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, the shop ended up putting like a sound deadener in like specific areas. It
Okay.
wasn't like how crazy it is now, where it's like the whole thing.
Uh huh.
But maybe it was within my budget at the time when I did that. So I probably didn't go too crazy on the deadener, but yeah, I just was building that in my backyard. I think I went from like three JL audio. This was like maybe like W3s, I think,
Probably
back in the day.
W3s. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
it
sure
wasn't
they
really
weren't
W.
W1s, but
No, but yeah, I went from like three, and then I ended up doing four. The amplifiers I had were, believe it or not, US acoustics, but
oh
it
yeah.
was kind of way back in the day. It's not the same look as it is now. I think it was
Mm-hmm.
back when they were gray, black, and red. And I think they
Okay.
were, man, I don't even recall how many watts I had. So I had a sub amp to two, and then another sub amp to the remaining two.
Okay.
And I did it all nice. I put panels in there and put carpeting. That's the first time I was messing with carpeting,
Hmm.
and just kind of saw how easy it was. And you're like, man, hey, I could do that, and made it look a little nicer. Kind of match stuff, and yeah, that's how I kind of first started with. And then we were like building stuff in my buddy's cars, and a friend of mine had a Caprice, and that trunk was huge. So we were just kind of like building as building it in the vehicle as we were going, and oh yeah, it was pretty janky. Yeah, we're just kind of experimenting and stuff like that. But I think that's kind of how the juices get flowing.
Oh,
You
absolutely.
just start on your own car, and you're like, let me see how this sounds, and we didn't have any plans or anything like that. Another buddy of mine had a Lincoln Town Car, and that trunk was huge too. So I think we ended up just building just a straight box and just throwing it in there. Um, but it wasn't until I had my no wall set up, my Dodge Caravan, where I actually built my first competition vehicle. Now, this was kind of, I guess, um, I tell this story to a lot of like first time competitors,
Uh huh.
or people who get on teams and stuff like that. So you go into world finals as a team,
Mm-hmm.
but it's kind of crazy when every member has a vehicle, that they're competing at finals. So it almost seems like we ended up getting separated. So we were kind of like doing our own thing. So out of necessity, like the following year, I ended up building my Dodge Caravan myself. Um, Pretty much, I think we got
That
some box specs.
that was your no wall.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, it was a no
Mm-hmm.
wall. And for you guys who had like MySpace at the time, this
Angel
I ended up
Fire.
I ended up putting like my build pics all on MySpace. I had it on audio, well, the Term Pro forum.
Did you have him on
Um,
Sound Domain?
no,
Okay.
no. So it was like super extensive. Luckily, I found this wood shop, I
Uh
guess,
huh.
um, that sold 1 inch MDF.
There you go.
And luckily, they were able to cut everything to size, because, yeah,
That's
that
handy.
thing is huge and heavy.
Oh yeah.
So I was able to lug everything in my Yukon, and bring it home. And yeah, I got to look up those build pics because some of them were pretty funny. Like, I would go like days straight just building the box.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I would go into like tangents. One time, I had this party at my house, and I had this wood, and I ended up building like this stripper pole in my backyard. So
I
I ended up
remember
going on.
that.
Yeah, okay.
And then you put it in your bedroom, right?
No, no, I didn't go that far, but um, so I was just, going off tangents, building stuff, and there was this one shot when I was working in my garage. So I had like all my uh 8-volt batteries,
Mm-hmm.
just
Trojan.
kind of, yeah, just hanging out, and I was reconing my subs, and I took this picture where I was like grinding, and like sparks were flying, and it was funny. Michael Hughes commented on that picture, was like, I hope you don't catch fire from all the gases coming from the batteries and all that. And I was like, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
But for him to comment on that, I was like, oh wow, kind of cool.
Michael Hughes,
Um,
and at that time, huge name.
oh yeah, oh
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
So.
for sure, on all the forums
Oh
and
yeah.
stuff like that. But believe it or not, and to this day, I don't know how to work a router. Well, I guess I never really learned.
Okay.
But when I was building my no wall box, it was a straight
Jigsaw.
jigsaw, straight
Yeah.
jigsaw, and the cuts on that thing were rough. Luckily, I had sandpaper and sanders, so I was like just constantly sanding and making it perfect and all that. But there was this. I had the box outside of the vehicle,
Uh huh.
and I was inside the vehicle adding more layers to the baffle from the inside. So I had a lot of these pictures. I was just like in a tank top, and yeah, it was
White beater,
pretty
huh?
rough. Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, it
it,
was.
Here's a
I
name I
fit in the
haven't.
box.
Here's a name I haven't seen before. Mystical Moon. Anyway,
Hmm.
so they said I had some of those Chrome US Acoustic Z Audio built amplifiers also. So,
Hmm.
um, so you know, as much as I was building, that's actually how I met Don Hebig
Hmm.
and another guy, Kevin Smith out of Arizona, and because I was learning about horns. So I was trying to create a servo tuned horn, which is kind of what John Nolte. So John Nolte, myself,
Hmm.
Scott Sanborn, Don Hebig, Kevin Smith, we were all kind of going after this weird, elusive thing, right? The thing is, I started reading some books from the, I don't know, 1920s about audio engineering. And obviously back then they didn't have anything that was power or subwoofers, or they just had speakers, right? And
Hmm.
so they were saying, potentially if you were able to do this, theoretically it could do. And they were talking all kinds of theory on like fourth order designs and horns and sixth order designs and stuff like that. And so I was really interested. I mean, that's kind of how I ran across Steve Deckert, right? So when I was learning about horns, he has a thing called the Wicked One. And so I found that out. I built that. That's actually a hybrid of the Wicked One, was my first box I built in my Subaru. And then I switched that out to a ported, just a true ported box. And when I built my van, I built a ported horn. So it was a ported box that fed into a horn, so it gave it a broader bandwidth of high SPL. So it would jump up in SPL and then it would stay at the top for a long time. And once you got beyond the range of the horn and the port, it just went poof. It just tanked as far
Hmm.
as response went. But it sounded really good. Actually, I went to watch um, Finding Nemo at the movie theaters, and I had this in my car. And I knew it would play down below 20 hertz, but that scene where the whales were talking, it was freaking awesome because the drive-in movie theater I was at had a
Hmm.
metal awning, and if you were in a van or a SUV, you had to park in the metal awning areas. So all of a sudden the well started doing that thing, and it just
Yeah.
and just destroying the structure I was under. It was freaking awesome.
Just low frequencies, right?
Oh
It's
yeah, I
just
didn't realize.
sonar.
Yeah, so come to find out, that was like 16 hertz is what they recorded it at, and my car was just destroying things at 16 hertz. Um, Mystical Moon says, I've been trying to study John's servo tuned design also. Ever
Hmm.
since his two 6.5 videos, I remember you being on the Deckware forums too, Doug. Oh, so
Oh,
apparently Mystical Moon knows me. Yeah, I was
yeah.
Scuba Guy on there, I think. But yeah, I mean, that just it led me the Deckware, and then everything else just kept leading me to more and more cool stuff. So
This rabbit hole.
yes. So my first car with a single 10, I believe I did. I think I got a 130 or 126. 126 single 10 300 watts. I came back with the Deckware box, the Wicked One, with the two tens in the back of the Subaru, and I think I got to like 142. I think, if I remember correctly. But then I built my own porta box, switched out, went to 212s from Don Hebig, his Inhuman 12s, and that box there I was able to hit 150 plus, 150.1, and nobody was talking to me at those car shows until I hit 150 dB. Matt Bransoy was the first one in street class to hit 150 out of Michigan or Minnesota, somewhere up there.
He had the CRX, right?
Yellow
The yellow one?
CRX. Yep.
Yeah, yellow CRX.
Automatically makes it louder because it's yellow. You remember those days?
Yeah.
Oh, he says, I was Mizmar on the forums back in the day. I do remember that name. I think I may have even talked to you a few times, you know, back and forth. Um, but then when I switched, I went 150.1. Scott Sanborn's face was all up in my car. What the hell you got in there? Blah, blah, I was using a true 2x500 watt amp, and it was true to power. So, and Scott, I don't remember. I think Matt was using the Zabco amps, the 9.0, and Scott was using two modified ZR1000s, and I was using an Arc Audio 1000 watt amp, 2x500, and it wasn't even a mono amp, and I was able to hit a 150. He was like, "Hell yeah, who is this?" And all of a sudden I started getting attention, and I started helping people build stuff and whatnot. And then let's see, I went and helped um, in Salinas. So it was Fat Boy, Greg Cologne's rival in Salinas, Miguel Ayala. Sound Waves was his shop. And so he had a Rabbit, and we were able to get his Rabbit, was by far the loudest car in the world that year. But Scott Sanborn's job was to watch the mics, and he didn't watch the mics. This was the very last year they had the stick mics. Mm-hmm. And so Scott Sanborn wasn't watching the mics. And he let Steve Azevedo get on the hot mic against us. And that was the year in Super Street 1 to 2, he hit a 170 something.
That's right, I remember.
Yeah. Which, when we were both on the same meter, he was like almost 3 dB lower than Miguel. But because he got on that meter and he was able to spike it, he got to a 170 point something, 0.2 or something. And, we only got our 64 or 65. So, we got a 63. And we had a 65 in it because he didn't even turn it up. And, then we did that. And then I built that Extreme CRX with with Arlindo Gomes. And that was my first introduction to Autorama. We brought it out there, and I built that car up. His best ever score with that car was a 152. And I got it all, 156. I got him up to a 168. He said, I did. So I rebuilt his car. I got it up to a 168 for him. He says, none of this stuff is working. And I said, I had been working on his car for almost 2 days straight. I went home. I got home, I don't know, 5 or 6 in the morning, and we had a show at 10 a.m. the next day. I show up to the show about 11 because I was tired, and I get there, and all the stuff I had put in the last 2 days, he had teared out and sitting back on the ground next to his car, saying, well, that wasn't working. It wasn't making my car any louder. I'm like, we were on a meter. You gained 10 dB in 2 days, and it wasn't making your car louder? So at that point, we had to separate ways. I appreciate that he gave me the opportunity. I didn't spend any of his money. He spent whatever he did. He bought me materials. At that time, I was fortunate. I found a place locally that was selling HDF instead of MDF, so high density fiber.
Density.
Yeah. So we were getting 3/4 high density, and that stuff is just difficult to cut with a saw. But the other thing is I like to use a jigsaw to cut out my holes, just because with the jigsaw you put a slight bevel to it, and it makes those speakers just like you almost suck into the hole. And so that was one of the things I did. So for me personally, I learned that rounding corners inside of boxes made a huge difference. Even if you just put a 3/4 by 3/4 chamfer piece in the corner,
Hmm.
huge difference. Um, I tried using turn vanes from HVAC system, which is a metal half moon,
Yeah.
and screw that in the corners. I didn't see any gain over just making a 45 in the corners.
Hmm.
Anything that you learned while building those boxes?
Funny you mentioned the angles
Uh huh.
because
Whammy bar?
yeah, we I don't know. I think we might have used it too much. The wham, what we call the whammy.
Yeah.
Essentially, it's just like a really steep. Well, I don't know if you want to call it steep, but it's just like a
Mm.
big angle
Yeah.
right behind the whooper. So I had mine right behind the woofer that was furthest away from the port. Um, I
Yes.
had no idea how that worked. When I was building it, I actually ended up building it bigger than I had planned because for some reason the wood didn't line up, or
Mm.
the magnet was hitting the whammy board, so we needed more clearance. Um, but yeah, I mean, like to this day, like Chad would Chad Geary, of course.
Mm-hmm.
He used to swear by it back then.
Uh huh.
Now, not so much, which is was kind of threw me off because we just kind of swore up and down about the
Mm-hmm.
whammy board and how it just helped, and I think at one point it got so crazy where we were building the angle
Uh
kind of like hollow, and we would drill a hole on the side of the box and then just kind of fill it with
huh.
spray foam,
Concrete,
concrete,
whatever. Yeah.
whatever. That was like the crazy experiment that we would do with that whammy board. But for one, it did help to score,
Mm-hmm.
but it was shredding woofers. Like
Yep.
it was that back pressure, you know.
Yeah. So what happens with that, and like I said, we did a lot of testing, is when you have that angle so close to only one side of the sub, because essentially you're sitting like this, right? So you're tight to the
Right?
stub on this side, and then the back side you're just wide open. You actually get some back pressure on the sub on the one side, tilts the cone, boom, uneven pressure on the back side of the cone, and fried coil.
Yeah. We were trying to obviously, and then the other woofer that didn't have the whammy board was fine, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, just by adding that, what it was like guiding the wave, or I
It
mean,
it
we
was
didn't know the technical terms. We just, oh, let's get
so
it bigger. Let's get it, make it
yeah.
smaller, not
so
as long.
so one thing that will do is it changes the length of the wave, right?
Okay.
So the way frequency is 60 hertz is at 60 feet it completes one wave,
Hmm.
right? So you're looking
One
for the
cycle.
quarter wave.
Yeah.
So 1/4 of 60 feet is the exact distance you want from, if you're playing 60 hertz, back of the subwoofer, through all the design in your car, up to the windshield. So by changing that, you were changing the length of the wave to the mic, and then
Hmm.
helping it also flow more efficiency, with more efficiency off the back of the sub out through the port and then across your car, right? So you were helping with the increase of the efficiency of the wave without putting eddies in it, back swirls. Yeah, did you guys ever put smoke in a box and see what happens?
No,
Not on purpose, right?
not on purpose.
But yeah, so I would put smoke in my boxes to see
Hmm.
what was happening inside the box. And anytime you can get rid of standing waves or eddies where the smoke would swirl,
Hmm.
is fixes a lot of things. Part of what I was learning with horns was you could put them in a bathtub and you could push water and just see how the water flows around, and see if it gets caught somewhere, and you can make adjustments to your box to help fix that.
Hmm.
Um, So that was some of the stuff I was doing back in the days. That was really nice. Um, when you built your no walls, did you build it outside your vehicle, stick it in the vehicle, or how did you inside the vehicle all built, or what?
Outside of the vehicle,
And then
and
slide
then
it in,
yes, slid it in. Yeah.
and then attached it to the. So here's something some people don't know that haven't been doing this for a long time. How did you attach it inside the vehicle?
Well, we measured it, built it as wide as we could,
Right.
where it would we would wedge it. We had intentions of bolting it,
Yeah.
but that actually hurt the score. In certain areas,
Mm-hmm.
we would test. Okay, let's put a hole here. Let's bolt that side down. Let's not bolt this side down. And so I think we ended up finishing out with just one bolt,
Okay.
bolting it down. But that was basically we just went from the bottom of the vehicle, drilled straight up,
Mm-hmm.
just took a big old bolt, and
To the
that's pretty
frame.
much it. Um, no, not even the frame.
Okay.
It was just
So
the skin of the vehicle.
so in the street class, I found bolting it to the frame was helpful.
Hmm.
But when I did my no walls in my van, I actually ran a all thread rod, a 1 inch all thread, and all the way through the skin of the vehicle on the bottom through the top of the box, and held the whole box together with that.
Hmm.
So,
Interesting.
and so how often did you screw, staple, glue? What did you do to hold your box together?
Oh, wood glue,
Mm-hmm.
and screws.
Okay. How
Yeah,
how often
what do you mean, like?
were your screws? Like every 4 inches, 12 inches?
It was the width of my hand. So I drilled here, put my hand there, and then drilled again. And now I countersunk them
Mm-hmm.
because I ended up, bondoing over the screws,
Oh,
and
did you?
yeah. So I didn't know how to use a nail gun at the time. I know a lot of people were using nail guns, and they still
Mm-hmm.
swear by it to this day. But yeah, to get that, I guess, more for sure,
Uh-huh.
we used wood glue
Mm-hmm.
and just the amount of screws, and we were using like Jim Jean at the time. He was working for a pharmacy store, I believe. I think it was like Long's Drugs. This was like way back when.
Yeah.
So he built I think the displays.
Oh,
So
okay.
he had these screws that I think you weren't able to find anywhere. Like I couldn't find them at Home Depot. But one end it was like super sharp. And like no matter how much torque you had with your drill gun, you couldn't snap them. So
Oh.
we were using a lot of those screws.
Hmm. Yeah, I was using drywall screws, 4 inches on center, which is roughly the width of your hand from
Mm,
here to here, right? That's
right.
roughly
Yeah.
4 inches.
Yeah.
Um, and so I would use the Elmer's wood glue that had the wood fibers in it.
Oh, okay.
It's a little stronger bond. The key to it is you rub the wood glue on both sides, and then when you put it together, you make sure it oozes out. That's absolutely the
Mm.
key. And I guarantee you, once that wood glue dries, that is stronger than the wood itself. I mean, I'm sure
Yeah.
you've probably taken apart a box and it breaks not at the glue joint, but next to the glue joint, right?
Exactly. It was like bare minimum used glue. Now you probably can get away with maybe not using as many screws, but
Yes.
it's like glue
Mm-hmm.
minimum.
And then I would caulk the inside of the box to make it
Right. Yeah.
airtight.
Hmm.
And then we went from that. I started doing fiberglass on the inside of boxes.
Yeah. Yeah. I never got a chance to do that with mine.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not how they kind of like do it now, where if they build a box, they'll just pour
The
the
resin.
resin and then like tilt the box a certain way where it dries at a perfect 45, but
Yeah.
didn't do that.
So I will say, doing the resin, um, was difficult because you never can make it smooth, so you always got to come back and sand it.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
so that was difficult. That's the downside of doing resin on the inside of your box.
Mhm.
But I'll tell you, it it changes the timbre also. The sound that comes out of the subwoofer, it 100% does. But you're not looking for a very specific high quality sound when you're trying to hit 160 plus dB.
SPL. Yeah.
Yeah. So um, that's not, Steven says he resins his box.
Hmm. I had fun with the resin. I ended up
Yeah.
laying down like car audio manufacturer stickers and then just like
Oh,
resined over it, so you could like see through it and it'd be kind of cool.
that's cool. I never did anything like that. Um, yeah, and that resin when it starts getting hot, that doesn't mean it's like drying. That means it's hot as hell.
Oh yeah, yeah. I made a couple of batches like that.
Oh yeah.
You
And
got 10 seconds to use it.
yeah, that's always fun. And then yeah, so that's what I did for boxes. If you guys have any questions about building boxes, go ahead and throw it up there. When I built my wall in my 58 Pontiac, I was gonna build a steel cage,
Mhm.
but I am a thrifty person, we'll say. And so I was working on a job site. I had access to a lot of 2x4s. So I literally just used 2x4s stacked one next to each other, side by side, all the way around.
Hmm.
And so I used 2x4s as the basis for my box. And then I just screwed the MD or HDF to that. So that's what I did. Have you ever built a steel cage and whatnot?
No,
Okay.
no. I know like Chad, who's good at welding,
Mm-hmm.
would do that. There was another team member from up in Chico. He would be the welder.
Mm-hmm.
I know he welded the battery box to the Rabbit a while
Oh, okay.
back. But no, I had have no I guess experience with using steel.
Mm. Yeah. Did you come up to Autorama when that guy used to have that military truck and with a whole bunch of speakers inside that like you walk into the bed of it is a big old flatbed. But
Hmm.
one year he showed up and I actually did an interview with him on Sonic FX way back when I first started doing videos.
Hmm.
And he literally built the box that the subwoofers were in out of metal studs and drywall. I'm like, that's not going to hold up.
Wow. Yeah.
um, but yeah, I thought that, and I found that utterly amusing. Um,
Yeah, because I mean, I don't. It can't withstand the pressure, right? The
no,
drywall.
no, it can't. The drywall was flexing like crazy.
I'm wondering how he was able to mount the woofers to the. Maybe
Oh,
they were
that's easy
lighter.
to the drywall. Well, yeah, oh yeah, he was using like
Ah,
$10 woofers.
okay.
Nothing heavy. But yeah, no, he just put wall anchors and then
Hmm.
screwed the subwoofers.
Wall anchors.
Yes, just like your cheap old wall anchors.
Yeah, just like I think I did one for my toilet paper holder
Exactly.
using wall anchors. God.
Yeah. But yeah, like I said, some things I learned. I developed a subwoofer, a single 10, that I could fit in a 1 cubic foot box minus a 3x3 port that was 9 inches long. So I
Hmm.
put a 3x3 port. Now, it was 100% for a trunk because boy, did that port whistle. Uh, there was a lot of port noise. But and that 110, I mean, it was my 300 watt 10 inch woofer, and you put the true 300 watts to it, and I was getting 135, 136 out of a single 10. You know,
Hmm.
and it was in a 1 cubic foot box, 12 inches by 12 inches by 12 inches interior,
Yeah.
and then minus a 3 by 3 port right in the corner. I was able to do that. So, I mean, I literally have a book, probably, I don't know, 3/4 of an inch thick, of all the different subwoofer box designs that I designed, built, and whatnot. So I used to keep track of all that, keep notes on it, right? So I would write notes on the drawing of, hey, this is what happened here. You need a subwoofer that fits these parameters for this box. So, yeah, it's a lot of fun. Really, really enjoyed building boxes. That's really what got me into this thing, you know. Um, and plus, I'm a carpenter by trade, so building, that's what I do. I'm a builder. Um, so yeah, I really enjoyed building boxes. Like I said, I built a handful of boxes for customers when I was manufacturing Subsonic FX, and I helped other people build their boxes in their car. Sean Beasley, not a really great name in the Sacramento area. I guess he was a little shisty and got some money from some people, right? But um, he came to the West Coast finale, I think the second or third one,
Mm-hmm.
and we were doing it in Reno, and it was at JC's Car Audio, and he showed up with a no wall blow through, and or not, yeah, blow through, not the walk through. And he showed up, and he was only doing like 52s, and I got him up to a 60 in like 3 hours. I was like, dude, you built this wrong. And give me this piece. Do this. Bam, 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 bam. Doing all kinds of shit to his box.
Mm-hmm.
All said and done, I think I got him to 159.9 just right before 160 in maybe 2.5, 3 hours. And that's one of the things he parlayed into getting people to pay him to build boxes, we'll say. You know, like, oh yeah, see how loud my car is? Yeah, I built the whole thing. Well, he did build it. I just modified it.
Yeah.
And for me, I went to college for physics. I mean, I don't have a high school diploma, but I went to college for physics. I can see. I don't know how to describe it. Did you see the movie? I think it's Beautiful Mind, where he's looking at the wall and he just like sees the numbers and they just kind of align and stuff. You know that movie that I'm talking about? So I can see problems like that with physical things. Like, you tell me, this motor's not doing this. I can, like, when I start looking at it, I start seeing the motor doing what it has to do. And I mean, and truly, that's how my mind works. And so when I build a subwoofer box, I'm looking at the air and how it's flowing through the box and where it's gonna. I just see it, and I think a lot of that is because of the testing we did with the fog machine and stuff like that. So
See that? Yeah.
yeah, and that's why I tell people all the time is like, if I were to build a box for somebody and they were running 1,500, 2,000 watts and I didn't hit a 150 with it, I'd be pretty disappointed. So, I'm going to run in my Trans Am if I ever get it back. I'm going to run, I have a Incriminator Audio 2,000 watt amp and a 2 Incriminator Audio 10s. And I truly believe that car will do about 146 out of the trunk for daily setup. Oh, here we go. This is a question for you. Manny wants to know, what's the guy's name from Chico? That's the easy one.
Oh, Joe McDermott.
Yep.
We used to call him Joe Dirt.
It's been a while.
He was out there, like, he's out there, I think, in like the woods of Chico.
Yeah.
That like area.
Stephen Takakis says, air is a fluid and must be respected like that. And that's what I was saying, in the bathtub. And that's kind of where that all started for me, right? Was, hey, air's a fluid, just like water. So let's see how it flows in a bathtub. And to be honest with you, I think Don Hebig, hell, he's laughing about your Joe Dirt. um, I think Don Hebig's the one who explained it to me in that terms, that air is water. And so it needs to be able to flow like water would. And honestly, that one explanation opened up so much for me in understanding speaker box design. Oh,
You've oh, sorry, go
hey,
ahead.
no, just real quick. Manny says, hey, you just talked to him a few days ago. I guess he's
Oh,
going to come back in the lanes.
yeah, I think he was I don't know if I can mention this, but he was planning a build,
Oh,
and I'm not sure if that panned out, but
might have to have him on the show.
yeah, you can find him. I think he goes hunting a lot. So I think the story is he would go at like months, maybe about a month at a time, just
Oh,
hunting, and he like we couldn't hear about him or till he got back from hunting.
so he's a mountain man.
Yes, yeah, in all sense of the word, yeah.
I'm sorry, what were you going to say before Manny said that?
Oh, so you've obviously checked out the speaker cookbook and box
Obviously.
building and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Let me ask you, did in any of those like box diagrams did you ever see uh them utilize PVC like we used PVC back in the day?
So, not necessarily the speaker builder's cookbook, right?
Okay.
Oh, his blazer was no joke, Manny says.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Um,
No joke.
uh, so
Maybe you would see like rounds on the
correct.
support or
So
something like that,
so
but
so
not PVC.
so the, so you got to
That was a
understand
game
it.
changer back
It
then.
was, so that's what I was
Yeah.
going to get to also,
Yeah.
because I think XSSPL was the first team I personally saw using PVC cut up,
That
and
was another
I jumped
invention
on
that we
it.
went crazy with. Yeah.
Yeah, I jumped on it too once I saw it, and then I was able to make it work. Oh, Manny says Joe Dirt's the reason he got into car audio.
Oh, no way.
Oh, that's awesome. I did not know that.
As long as knew Joe, he always had an extreme vehicle. I remember
Oh,
one year at finals, he was going up against Jaime De La Pez.
uh huh.
That was the name back in the day, but uh, there was the round coming up between the two, and he was like, "Time to get," he said, "Time to get spanked" or something like that. But yeah, he, no matter what, he was out there with his extreme vehicle, and he drove that extreme vehicle to Nashville. When he would sleep on the side of the road, he would unscrew the bulletproof glass from the driver's side, and then a couple of times we had to pass him up and had to check on him to make sure he didn't pass out or anything. But it's a story about Joe.
Yeah, I'm looking up Jaime De La Paz, and it's
Oh,
all girls.
what?
I'm trying to look it up on Facebook.
I don't think I've like checked up on him or anything
You
with
know
his
what?
son.
I'm gonna hit up Tommy McKinney. I bet Tommy McKinney. Oh, who else do we have? Pippo. I think Pippo knows him really well.
Hmm.
I'm gonna hit
Yeah,
up
I think
Pippo.
so.
He would be a great guy to have on here.
Jaime De La Pez?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's done anything recently.
No.
But yeah, I mean, he'd be good for like back in the day stuff.
Yeah.
I think
Uh,
last I heard he had a restaurant or something.
that's okay. Let's talk about some old stuff. Paulie Daniel says, when are they gonna bring Cyclone sound quality back into the sport?
Hmm. Maybe the RTA he's talking
Yeah, I
about.
think he's talking about the RTA. They're not gonna be doing that. The RTA was an experiment thing. Um, it definitely has a use. You can talk to Steven Takakis about it. It is it adds a extreme dimension to it, but truly DB drag and its formats are really designed to be spectator friendly and fast paced, and that
So
is
true.
neither of them. It's 30 seconds of white noise is not that exciting.
Right.
Um, let's see. Manny says he was my first. My first box with 315 strokers and 6 DB 1000s. I'm guessing he said he built.
Hmm.
Paulie says in Australia, it was the most popular thing to do. The RTA was very hard to
Yeah.
get your head wrapped around what the RTA was uh, for sure. So
That's so true.
yeah, trying to explain the RTA to a casual spectator that came by. Um, yeah,
Or even
Joel.
like a seasoned competitor. I had
Yeah.
like this SQ competitor from this other organization, won
Mm-hmm.
many world championships, tried to get in, RTA, and he couldn't figure it out. Like I mean, I'm sure he probably ended up figuring out, but got frustrated by the way that RTA was. I guess it wasn't the same way they did that in SQ, which I'm not too familiar with, but yeah, so not so much confusing the spectator, but even seasoned competitors.
Yeah. True that. But so reading back in some of those 1920s and earlier papers about speaker box building, they theorized about not they didn't call them tubes. They had a name for it, but I did see something about it. That's part of what made me start rounding the inside corners of my boxes
Mm-hmm.
because they talked about the airflow and whatnot. And in hydrodynamics, when you added and like you guys were one of the first, like obviously the first one I saw put it on the outside of the port, and then you
Yeah,
started stacking two or three together.
yeah,
And did that change
side by
anything
side.
for? Yeah, side by side. Did that change anything for you? I found
Yeah,
a
oh yeah,
second one made a difference, but the third one didn't.
yeah. I don't think we ever did more than two. It was funny. We put it on the port, and we put one on the front and the one beside it. It kind of rounded with the back. Maybe that's why we never used more than two. But it we had a funny name for it too. How we talked about the whammy board. This
Uh
was
huh.
kind of like the cleavage. It was what we used to call it, because it would be like little uh I'd rather not say, but yeah, so we ended up doing two, and I think we've even tried putting some at like the edges of each side of the port,
Yeah.
and that didn't really help so much as like the actual port length itself.
Right.
And then I think we added like PVC like on the wall, like in between the two speakers. Never really. I don't think we've used uh, PVC inside the box.
So I did
That
for a
came.
while,
Okay.
and like I said, the wood is so much easier, and you can change. You can go from 3/4 inch wide, or make it 2 inches wide or 3 inches wide, and put it in there, and that was so much easier than cutting a piece of PVC in quarters. So
Oh, that's
yes,
also very hard to do using
yes.
a jigsaw. We were counting our blessings that we didn't cut off any fingers after we would do that. We even tried cutting it on a table saw, and we would just like pray to God that nothing would happen. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, like the plastic exploding on those things like crazy.
and it would melt the
Oh yeah.
previous, like said, some. like the saw blade would cut through it, and then it would melt at the end, and then it
Yeah.
would just melt back to to a shape, and we're like, what the hell are we doing?
um,
This is so crazy.
Manny sent me a picture. I forwarded it off to you. That's his 315 strokers sent to
Oh,
you.
okay.
Um, and Calvin says Jeff used to show his cleavage at shows all the time.
In a way, I kind of did.
So, no, that was like some of the stuff that we got to pioneer and be part of. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna just look here real quick. Steve Willis, Michael Mueller. I didn't get to see Michael. Oh,
Did
dude,
he play some
Michael was
post?
talking. Yeah, he was talking 30 minutes ago in here.
Man.
I really wish. And Steve Willis, that's my fault, guys. I'm sorry, Steve and Michael. I should have had the Facebook open. I'm looking at it now.
Oh, the
Uh,
chat didn't show, right?
yeah, for some reason it didn't
Oh,
show
damn.
Steve, obviously. Oh, Michael had a thing. Oh, wow. Dude, I missed a whole conversation here.
Dang.
Yeah, he's talking about, he hopes to be on the podcast one day, but he doesn't want to mess it up. And
What?
I know. He says thanks for having the podcast. He appreciates us doing this. And Steve Willis is like, yeah, there's so much knowledge there with Michael. Well, it'd
Yeah.
be more about stories and adventures. And Steve says that's even better. And I agree.
Yeah.
Um,
The
you
big
know,
Okie from Germany, if you guys don't know who
yeah.
he is, the big Okie.
Oh, Calvin says he's going to see me in Baton Rouge in 2 weeks. I don't think so, sir. Because of my move and trying to do that, I'm not going to make it to Baton Rouge. I will tell you, Saturday I bowled a tournament, 58 entries. It was open handicap, open scratch, senior handicap, senior scratch. 4 games, and then you just enter all the different ones. Um, and I won senior scratch, senior handicap, open scratch. I got third place in the open handicap because I don't get any, so I lost to them. And then I won 9 of the 12 possible high game pots that I could have been in, and then a handful of dollars in the brackets. But obviously, this is just a fictitious story in case the IRS is listening.
What was Calvin gonna bowl out there too?
That's the only reason I would guess he's in Baton Rouge in 2 weeks. It's the national tournament's in Baton Rouge this year, and I was invited to go. Cal, if you know anything about the PBA and stuff, I was going to go with Mr. 900. So this one gentleman,
Wow.
he says sandbaggers always win. Um, uh, anyway, I was supposed to go with Mr. 900, the first guy who ever shoot 900 at the PBA. His name is Dave. Um, shoot, can't remember. Dave, hold on. Now I gotta look it up. He's a real. Oh, Dave Bowles, like bowling bowls. But yeah, he was the first one ever to shoot 900, which is 300s back to back to back in the PBA, and him and Josh Blanchard, who was the Western Region PBA rep. So, 2 great guys. Um, Calvin says he's being forced to go by his bowling alley owners. We don't have those kind of bowling alley owners out here in where I'm at in Northern California. So, but I have really, really good bowlers that live around me and have taught me a lot of really, really good stuff. I will be next year, no matter where it is. The team I go with, 2 of the guys on the team have averaged 220. Actually, their average is 220. They're one of, I think, only like 30 people ever to average 220 over 10 years. So in that tournament. So um, anyway, so I go with a very good team that every year we bowl it, we have an opportunity to actually win the national title. So which
Hmm.
is cool.
I didn't even know Calvin bowled.
Me either.
I
Does
picture him with the bumpers and just rolling it grandma style to the green.
he says sorry to take over audio for bowling. Um, does Calvin live in Dallas area?
No, he's actually in Southern
Oh, he's
California.
SoCal.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a guy down there that puts on a lot of events. He's kind of, name's Ramsey Basurdo. A really nice guy. But yeah, you might want to look into his CBT bowling.
Mm.
Not bad. He runs a lot of handicap stuff. It's really good. He stopped in like '06. My mama was my partner. Then when she passed, I stopped completely. Just started back about 2 years ago. So, yeah, I just started back in 2017. So, I took off from '94 to 2017. So, I was gone for a while myself. But hey, Jeff, we're way over on time.
Dang.
I thought it was cool catching up with about how we built our boxes and stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think it
It's
in.
almost like the basis or the foundation of
Yeah.
how they're built now, and how
Mm-hmm.
some stuff is still working and some stuff isn't, and
Cal says Jeff's just mad a bowling ball is too tall for him.
it's too tall. I used a 6 pounder.
I'm betting you can carry your own weight bowling, or at least pick up a 16-pound ball and throw it just fine.
Probably.
Yeah.
I used to model my bowling skills by Al Bundy. He
Oh,
used to do like this little wind up, and I was just doing it playfully, but
yeah.
that's the extent of my bowling
Mm.
attribute,
It,
acumen.
so one of the guys that bowls with me in the nationals, you ever watch Fred Flintstone bowl? Where he gets up on his tiptoes and twinkles up to the line
Oh,
and throws.
okay, yeah.
I am not
He
kidding
does it
you.
like that.
Swears the guy bowls just like that. And but I mean the guy averages like 215 like that, which is a very good average at the nationals level.
That's cool.
Calvin says, "Mucho love you two." Nah, Jeff is Filipino. He can bowl and doesn't even know it.
Yeah, I guess so.
So no, that's cool. Speaking of you being Filipino, I don't think I've ever seen where you have the Filipino flag hanging off all your stuff. Do you do that?
I actually just got it tattooed on my calf.
Oh, did you?
Well, it's Filipino tribal, but yeah. Where else did you see that? Who else does that
Oh,
with
dude, and I
flags?
live around so many. I live in the Bay Area, San
Oh
Francisco.
yeah.
There's so
Oh
many.
yeah. The Bay
You know,
Area. Yeah.
some people call them
Vallejo.
flips, right? So
Mm.
that's they're a little derogatory, but that's what they call them. And they have Little Manila and stuff like that, right?
Mhm.
And yes, you go in that area, dude. There's flags hanging everywhere. I'll have
Oh
to show you
man.
some of my bowling buddies. They made their bowling shirts the Filipino flag.
Oh, that's cool.
It's pretty cool. I mean, I appreciate their commitment to their heritage, right?
Hmm.
There's no problem with them being American. They're all 100% American, but they appreciate their heritage, and I can appreciate that. Really good. I mean, all of them really good people I met. We have a lot of Hmong around here. Um, Same thing. They're really big into their heritage. You know, that's a big thing. I'm I used to be a lot more into my heritage, wearing my skirt, and doing the Celtic thing.
Oh.
So haven't been doing it in a couple of years because COVID really killed our family traditions that we had.
Oh, okay. I think
So
you were talking about having some games or
yeah,
something,
Scottish
or
games.
Scottish games. Yeah.
Calvin says, just say it, Doug. The food's the bomb. And he says you're definitely must be a karaoke king of San Bernardino.
Ah,
So we in our new house we actually built an entire karaoke room. So, because my wife loves karaoke that much.
Oh man.
But anywho, yeah, we've been going too long. I did appreciate tonight. I had a great time. Next week we're gonna have, I guess, the guy who sells all the airports is who he is. Um,
Hmm.
so
Precision?
no, he sells the big, like the 10-inch and
Oh, I
stuff.
thought Pop Tart was the one who was selling
I
the
think
big
Pop
ones.
Tart gets him from him.
Oh, okay.
His name's Raymond Smith.
Mhm.
So he'll be on next week, and then the week following, like I said, since it's is it Men's Mental Health Week month?
Awareness, I believe. Yeah.
Okay, we are going to on the 30th, going to have a mental health expert in here, and like I said, we don't just talk about car audio on this show. That's definitely what binds us together, but we want to make a whole thing. Definitely reach out to guys. You never know how somebody may be hurting, especially men, right? We don't show when we're vulnerable in general, and so yeah, we're gonna have somebody on here and talk about that a little bit, and hopefully that works out really well. We'll have him on the 30th, and I'm gonna continue to try and put together people 2-3 weeks out in advance. Maybe talk to Jeffrey about getting on Joe Dirt. So
We'll see if he's out hunting or, I think
yeah.
he was also doing some stuff on the side to making some money. But yeah.
Oh, as a matter of fact, one of the competitors, I was bowling a tournament memorial, so the May weekend,
Mhm.
and one of the competitors, he's been gone for like 2 years. He was actually bowling the tournament on the same pair as me, and he was coming back into bowling or coming back into car audio again.
Hmm.
So him and I were
Oh, I
talking
think
about it.
yeah, I think you'd mentioned him,
Yeah,
and I think he's been on the forums and the
he
Facebook
has.
groups. Yeah, yeah, I did see him.
Yeah, he's back into it again, and I was like, cool, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, like I said, we're all much more than just car audio. So, but all right, guys. Any final thoughts or anything, Jeffrey?
No, nothing in particular, nothing pressing. Just, everybody, thanks for watching the show. If you're on the YouTube side, definitely click like, subscribe, comment if you can, help out the algorithm. We had a fan. Well, I mean, we had a person
Viewer.
on the show, a viewer,
Yes.
um, you know, um, ended up giving us a tip.
Yep.
So, and that's something that's cool. And as far as like YouTube is, we were kind of talking about it last time. We're about like super chats and stuff like that. So,
I forgot to look into super chats.
thank you so much for watching. And if you feel the need to tip the host, then it's totally fine as well. So, but for sure, like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube so we can get our numbers up.
Yes,
Thank you.
please. All right. For me, I got nothing happening. Joel wants to talk to me about a 3X in Northern California, Dixon, July 19th. Um,
Oh,
I, I'm just saying, Joel, it's very difficult at the moment until I finalize what's going on with my house. It's really difficult for me to commit to anything
mm,
because when that time comes, I promise you, ultimately my wife comes first, and so um, yeah, she might put a kibosh on me doing a show then, but it really depends on the house and where we're sitting. But I will try and keep that in mind and give you an answer by the first.
so it's not a no, Joel. It's
Yeah,
it's he's got to work some stuff out.
yeah, and I think by the first, July 1st, I should have a solid answer for you.
Cool.
All right. Well, once again, guys, I appreciate you tuning in. Thank you, Jeffrey. Great job. Look forward to our guest. If you guys have any other guests you'd like to have us have on here, please please. Oh, Alberta's got another quad weekend coming up.
Oh my gosh.
Dang.
Friday through Monday?
Is that what it
Like,
is?
yeah, is
Again?
Monday another
Wow.
Canada holiday?
Oh, so, but yeah, if you guys like to have somebody else on here, it doesn't matter if they're Canadian, they're Australian, New Zealand, Chinese, whatever. We don't care where they're from. We want to get them on here. I really want to try and get one of those Greek guys on here because we haven't had any Greek people on here yet.
Hmm.
And they have a lot of records, or they end up getting
Oh
records every
yeah.
year. So
Oh
it'd be
yeah.
nice to get one of those guys on here. I'm gonna, you know, I'm gonna reach out to what's his name tomorrow morning and see if he's interested in helping me get a Greek guy on here.
Giannis?
Giannis, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Oh
So,
yeah.
yeah, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. 2X, 1X, 1X, 3X.
Oh, wow.
There's some points for you. So, all right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. We will see you next week at 6:30 California time, the only time that matters on This Week in Cardio. Peace. We out.